Hi, everybody. Hi, my friends. It's me again, Henry Perez Alonso, the recreation and park professional in my little world. And I welcome you to the Take 5 Challenge. Just a little bit about me for those of you who are watching for the first time. I am the Recreation Arts and Community Services Director for the town of Danville in California. Been in the business for, over 30-ish years, or 30 some odd summers, as they like to say. And the reason why we're here, honestly, is one simple reason, and that's connection. It's about parks and rec professionals connecting with each other and making an intentional effort to just spend time and get to know each other. A few years back, I was part of the association, the California Parks and Recreation Society, where I was the state board president. I challenged our membership to really take 5 with, it was called the Take 5 Challenge. And I challenged our membership to take 5 minutes a month to connect with somebody else, whether it's someone that has gone before you in the business, someone who's at the same level as you, or someone who's coming up after you. Really, again, it was an opportunity for us to intentionally work with each other and just chat, right? It was to talk about current projects, programs, professional goals. And the intended outcome really for me was for, as iron sharpens iron, is that we as professionals really sharpen each other. So the Take 5 Challenge really was intended to establish and broaden and sharpen our circle of professional support, right? And what this show really is about for you and me, I guess, is that I want to show you what taking 5 looks like. I want to model it and further challenge you to connect with other professionals, right? So as always in our show, I'm going to take 5 with someone, which may look a little longer than 5. But again, it is my opportunity to stay sharp myself, but then learn stuff, but hopefully have you learn something from our conversation as well. Right. So I look forward to, and I'm trying to challenge myself to take 5 with someone from each one of our states in our union. And hopefully I'll be able to kind of do that in the next year or so. As always, powered by You Make a Difference campaign, where you can find them at youmakethedifference.today. And you can check us out at take5challenge.today. And that's take the number 5 challenge.today. And, or if you want to send me a little note, it's Henry at take5challenge.today. Again, take the number 5 challenge.today. So when we return, we're going to take 5 for my guest for this show, Tracy Staton, the leadership and development and consultant and coach. Really looking forward to having some time and chatting with my friend Tracy. So we'll be right back to Take 5 with Tracy.
This is NGBN TV, a network for men and home to top experts, speakers, authors, and more. Streaming TV for men, created by men.
But why?
Why are we a network that inspires,
Educates, entertains, celebrates, and supports
men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, simply to save men's lives.
There is an epidemic in our community,
and it's taking men from us?
I'm talking about mental health and suicide.
But we have an answer, and it's streaming, live shows, sports, concerts, and more.
in a real way for men to lock shields.
We can't wait to launch this TV network for you and with you.
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 Join our movement at ngbn.tv, coming January 2024.
Come on down.
Hey, how are you? I'm so excited to be here, my friend.
I'm so excited to have you here and just to kind of hang out and take five with you. I know we've done this on a professional level and been out, in the real world doing this, but it's so much fun to have you as a part of this show and just to be able to take five with you and just kind of chat and say, hey, what's happening, which is really cool. So welcome to the show. Honestly, for just for grins, for those folks that might be listening to us, why don't you tell me a little bit about, who is Tracy?
Ooh, that is a very loaded question.
Yes.
But for the sake of this production, I will say that, as you can see on the screen, I'm a leadership and development consultant and coach. And what that means is that I conduct trainings with large groups. I do one-on-one coaching, and I also do some speaking engagements at conferences and different lunch and learns to help people create connection where there was previously conflict. And that's what I do now. But I do that really a lot in the park and recreation space. And that is because for a very long time, I was a park and recreation professional which, as you know, is how we know one another, working with California Park and Rec Society. And my beginning as a neophyte park and rec professional was back in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where I was a Milwaukee County lifeguard.
So are you allowed to, like, as soon as you say Wisconsin, it comes with the accent, right? I just want to make sure.
You have to say it properly.
All right, Wisconsin. All right.
Wisconsin. Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
No, so I started my journey back when I was 16 years old as a lifeguard, came up through the profession, and then now have transitioned into this new role where I'm not working specifically in one agency, but have a wider net to cast.
That's pretty cool. I mean, honestly, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you, because I do know you as someone who was attached to a municipality or something like that, but you're not right now. And you're here. And to me, I think there's a lot of us Parks and Rec professionals that will sit there and go, man, how did you get to do that? How does that happen? Because we do see a lot of our, colleagues from time to time dive into consulting or doing other things. And, I'm not going to lie that it's not necessarily, maybe it's on my list of things to do one day, kind of thing as well. But how the heck did you get there?
Well, I think that I have been leading teams for quite a long time, and I have a background in communication. I actually have a master's degree in it. And I've always been training with people, and mentorship was really important to me. So anyone that was in my fun squad, my team, I was always mentoring and helping sharpen iron sharp. I was doing take fives before I knew what a take five challenge was. And so on my computer, when I got wrapped up in all the bureaucratic stuff that sometimes comes with working in a municipality, I would have a Post-it note and it said, I come to work to uplift and empower. Wow. And it was my why. And I didn't realize it was my why until life presented a bit of a crossroads wherein I had a shift out of Parks and Recreation that was rather sudden. And I decided, if that's my why, as I was like unpacking my box when I got home of all my office possessions, I was like, if my why is to uplift and empower, why don't I take this opportunity to do that every single day? And I kind of looked at what that might look like, and had already been certified as a coach professionally, had been doing trainings for a long time. And I decided, rather than serve my one team, which I loved and was so passionate about, why not broaden the scope and hopefully help uplift and empower as many people as possible?
That's super cool. I mean, I'm listening to this and it's like, okay, we skipped over a little bit of something. And I hope you don't mind me kind of diving in a little bit, because it wasn't like that smooth, right? You're just telling me about unpacking a box that came from somewhere, right? So you kind of walked away or, stepped away, however, whether it be, given to you or by choice. Was that like easy, or is that kind of like, I think we had a conversation before, you may have deemed it like an unexpected turn, right?
It was definitely an unexpected turn. I mean, as you know, I was the president of District 12 for the California Park and Rec Society. I would like to say that I was very top of my game in the field. And the PCU way to put it probably was, it was decided that I wasn't a right fit for the culture that was being built at the organization that I was in. And I, in a very jarring way, was asked to exit stage left. So it was not anticipated. And I struggled a bit. There's some ego involved when something like that happens, when you've worked really hard and you really care about the community and the team. And unfortunately, you're told your services are no longer needed. And so once I kind of worked through that jarring experience with a lot of my network in Parks and Recreation that I had built by my side, I really came to this understanding of like, this is an opportunity and I can crumble or I can pivot. And I decided it was time for a pivot. That Post-it note helped me recognize that. There was a conversation that you and I had at a CPRS conference, and you had said, out of the blue, way before I knew this was ever going to be part of my story, that Tracy, you can do anything you want to do. And so I heard your voice in the background of my mind as I was juggling all of these emotions. And I was like, yeah, I can do anything. And maybe this is the cliff that I got shoved off of, that I was actually going to jump off of anyway at some point. And it was just a little sooner than I would have ever anticipated.
Wow. And first, thanks for even including me in your story. I think I'm like, wow, I'm just kind of humbled by
I
that.
don't get brownie points. I don't get brownie points.
Yeah, no, that's actually, it's like, wow, I said something almost smart. So, but, but I know I appreciate that. And I think that what's interesting, I think for all of us in our field, right? It's like that happens to way more people than we know about. And sometimes really it is when we talk about hiring someone for the right fit, sometimes leaving is for the right fit as well, right? It wasn't your shoes to put on that day or this season, right? But it really was setting you up for something else into what you're in right now. And that's what I think is so cool is that I'm like, you're my hero right now, right? You actually stepped in it and you went for it. And do I even have, am I even brave enough to do that myself? Right. And I just think it's really cool. And I think what you're doing is inspiring others, whether you know it or not. I mean, I know that I've been able to see some of your stories that you share on LinkedIn and things like that. And people like resonate with that stuff. And I just want to say, hey, thanks. Thanks for being vulnerable and sharing that story because it's not easy. Some of us want to hide from that and we'll say, no, that didn't happen. Or you don't need to know what happened. And you just need to know that I'm not there anymore. Right. So thank you for sharing that with me. I appreciate that. There was something that also went through at that time too. Well, you said you were the D12, president. You did something about Tuesdays and reframing, and it happened to be the right time. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So when you come into the presidency, you have to have a theme for your presidential year. And the president prior to me, her theme was refresh because we were hopefully at that point coming out of COVID. Turned out that we weren't actually out of COVID at that point. And so when I took over, I was like, reframe. Maybe post-COVID world, we reframe how we serve the community. We've been given an opportunity to reframe how we see ourselves in the profession, reframe how we interact or how we network. I mean, just let's really reframe and step forward in this new era. Little did I know, like I had no way of predicting that the majority of the way through my presidency, I would have this major reframe in my life. And every Tuesday, I had written these messages of inspiration where it would have a quote and then a little bit about what was going on in my life or a story from the past. And obviously, doing those every week can kind of get you can get bogged down in it, or all of a sudden it's like Tuesday and you're like, oh my, or Monday at midnight and you didn't realize that you didn't do your Tuesday yet. And so some of them I actually pre-wrote and no one really knows that I did that besides like,
I won't tell anybody.
Yeah.
So, okay.
The secretary of D12 knows, but I pre-wrote them and it was like my past self had sent these messages after this turning point in my career. Every week, it was like people that did know my story at that point must have thought that I was writing them in time. But really, it was like past Tracy that had this nuggets of wisdom to deliver to me that I mean, it was spooky and also magical. And reframe could not have been a better theme because I really, truly had to reframe how I saw myself and how I could still be of service.
I think I have like little goosebumps right now. So I think that's amazing. It kind of makes me a little bit speechless and it's cool. And you also mentioned the people around you, the people that knew you. You had shared with me that you're a hoarder of friends.
Yeah, that came about quite a while ago, actually, where I was out with someone and she's like, you know everyone. We were just out and we ran into a bunch of people randomly. And she said, some people collect stamps and some people collect figurines or pennies or whatever. You collect people. You're like a hoarder of friends. And I totally took that as a compliment because authentic connection and really embracing people for who they are and where they're at, is extremely important. It's like a core value for me. So I am a bit of a hoarder of friends.
It's cool. But when you talk about that, when you see that, I'm picturing like you walking through, the aisle, that dance, kind of the dance lines, but all your friends are just lined up right behind you as you're kind of cruising through and dancing through on your path, which obviously didn't go in the way you went. It's kind of moving along with the music. And I know that is important. And I appreciate you saying that. I mean, that's what this kind of show's about. And what Taken 5 is that connection so that we can be there for each other and sharpen each other and all that. And I love that. So I got to ask you though, too, what's next in your world? what do you think? Like, where do you, what are you even looking? So,
Yeah. So as you can see, like as we've talked about a bit, I'm doing leadership and development consulting and coaching. And so I have been reaching out to my network of people and talking to them about what their employee development needs look like. And also have been graciously asked to be speakers at conferences to kind of get my empowerment messages out. I haven't fully spoken about my most recent story yet, but as we all do, I have other stories that I can incorporate into the lessons. And so that's what I've been doing. Like I said, I really served my team. I served them really well. I've gotten a lot of great feedback of the kind of manager and that I was for them. And now I'm taking that to a bigger scope and working not just in one municipality, but in multiple, and then in multiple private businesses as well. I've conducted trainings with Oracle, Texas Instruments, Netflix might be on the list. So I have some things in the works. And again, I'm just starting out on this new career trajectory. So it's all learning and all exciting. And, if anybody out there has any references of people that may need my services, a referral is the biggest compliment.
I totally dig that. Absolutely. Please, let Tracy know. Okay, so we in our profession, because to me, you're still a Parks and Rec professional and always will be, because you're doing it just on a different level, right? What if someone wanted to get involved in something like that? How do I become a speaker and trainer, Tracy?
Yeah. Well, before I knew that I could be doing this on a professional basis, I was throwing my hat in the ring for all sorts of speaking opportunities at the California Aquatic Management School, at the Star Guard Elite camp for all of their lifeguards. I went on a cruise with them down to the Bahamas and back as a keynote speaker. And so I just threw my hat in the ring for all these opportunities. And the more people saw me, the more they were like, oh, we'd love to have you come speak. We'd love to have you come speak. And then that in turn has kind of helped with business development, right? To get me into this training and coaching side. Now, there's certifications necessary with training and coaching. And so I began to explore before I even left the position that I was in, let's say the position that I was in, I had been curious about this and had been acquiring certifications that I thought would benefit me as a manager, and with no vision of this being my full-time gig. So I was laying the groundwork. So you can get certifications in things like insights discovery, think on your feet, DISC, strength finders. There's a bunch of these modalities that you can go out and get certified in. And then coaching, I got a certification from the Institute of Professional Excellence in Coaching, and have been coaching people, whether it just be as a manager, but now as a professional with clients for quite a while.
I think that's awesome and amazing. And I appreciate you sharing that, because there is the next step that we're always, looking for, and it really is sharpening. But really what I heard from you too was, just keep doing it for where you're at, because you never know where it's going to help you. So
I could have never predicted this. Yeah. And I'm so glad that I continued my education and continued my own personal and professional development in ways that I thought was benefiting me and was benefiting me in the place I was at, but then now have continued to benefit and serve me and others outside of that title.
I love that. Hey, Tracy, I just want to, we do a short time here. I don't want to do too much longer, but I do want to say, hey, I would love to have you come back, talk to me again. And I really appreciate the time that you've had, because I'm going to be following this journey in multiple different ways and watching what happens, taking notes for myself, because you sharing this with me helps me a lot to recognize, again, and reminds me that I think you said it somewhere, is like, our path isn't necessarily always straight, right? It goes in different ways, and we just have to go with it. And I think that you are going with that. And I'm just honored to be able to connect with you. So before you go, where can people get a hold of you?
Well, you can get a hold of me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So you can just search my name. It's Tracy Staton. I believe I'm the only one. So you'll find me very easily. Please connect with me. I also have a website that I just launched, tracystaton.com. Pretty easy. So those are the two best ways to get a hold of me, or tracystaton@gmail. I've kept it simple. Okay. So anybody can get a hold of me that way.
Excellent. And the challenge back at you. So if, like I said, not only am I doing this Take 5, but I'm still challenging professionals to take 5 with others. Would you be on my list of folks that I can connect other people with to Take 5?
100%. I actually just scheduled a take 5 with someone for tomorrow and one for Friday.
See, look at that. It already worked.
People reach out and be like, what is going on with you? And I love that connection, and I want to uplift and empower. It's my why, remember?
I love it. I love it. Well, Tracy, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. We will catch you soon. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll be right back to wrap up our show.
Attention, gentlemen of distinction. Introducing NGBN.TV, the television network designed exclusively for men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Your go-to destination for entertainment that speaks to you, inspires you, and celebrates the incredible journey of manhood. And here's the exciting news. NGBN.TV is coming to Roku, Apple TV, Amazon, and your favorite mobile devices. Whether you're a sports enthusiast, seeking self-improvement, or just looking for a good laugh, NGBN.TV has got you covered. Entertainment, inspiration, brotherhood. Coming soon to Roku, Apple TV, Amazon, and mobile devices. NGBN.TV, where men thrive.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's me again, Henry Perez Alonso, right here on the Take 5 Challenge. Just had a really cool conversation and listening to my friend Tracy Staton, the one and only, as you know, that you can find her at. And this is the time that I kind of just sit and reflect about what happened, what did I learn, what went from this, and really, you never know kind of the direction life's going to take you. You never know, even in your professional life, you may be setting yourself up for success in one area, but for whatever reason, you might get a bump in the road, speed bump, or a detour, right? And a detour that actually takes you to the place that you're supposed to be. And I feel like with Tracy's story and her path, it's like, right, her path didn't follow a straight line, but man, is she on a trajectory to make some stuff happen. And I want us to be aware of the fact that go with it, man. Go with the flow, I think, and understand it. And then also just understand that sometimes stuff happens. It's not fun. It's not easy, but you got to navigate it through. Right. And the other thing that kind of came about to me that was really important, because as she's navigating what could have potentially been something really, basically stopping your career, it really helped open a career for her. And she did that because she was, an authentic person. She had connections and she was supported along the way. And I think that's really empowering for her to not only share her story to others, but just to kind of keep walking that and keep walking tall. Whether or not it's, she may have some days that are slow, like we all do. It may just be, this is not the worst day, but she's trudging through. And quite honestly, for me, that right there pumped me up, because now I know I can move forward and move past some of those really funky days. So I really appreciate what come from that conversation. And again, it's all about connections. And that's why I'm here. It's important. I think we truly become stronger together. We're not a profession of one. I've said this many times, but we're a profession of many that as we connect together, we become stronger together, and we can change the world. And if not just the world, then our own part of the world. That's all that can happen here. And as we move forward with the Take 5 Challenge, again, send me a note, send me a little an email. Let me know if you're willing to take 5 and be a part of this challenge, or if you're willing to bring the challenge, to your area. Hook me up with someone that you want me to talk to. Because again, the Take 5 Challenge is for you and I as professionals, or you and I as people, to connect and get better, right? The Take 5 Challenge is, again, as always, powered by You Make a Difference campaign. And you can find them at youmakethedifference.today. And you can find me at take5challenge.today. Again, that's take5challenge.today. Send me an email at henry@take5challenge.today. I will shoot a response back, but love to know that you'll, take the challenge with me, find people that we can connect with. Let's stay sharp professionally. I look forward to connecting with you all over again. And thank you so much for spending some time with me. So we'll catch you next time as we take 5.